All right, everybody, it's time to bust some myths about therapy. As somebody who's been in therapy for almost a decade at this point, I am happy to fill you in on the truth about therapy. Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Megan, and welcome back to Healing Unscripted, the YouTube channel for accessible and relatable mental health content. Today we're going to talk about the most common myths about therapy and why they are totally 100% false. Let's start with our first myth. You have to be mentally ill to go to therapy. This is absolutely absurd. You do not have to be mentally ill to go to therapy, and vice versa. You are not automatically mentally ill just because you go to therapy. The truth is, therapy is for everyone because therapy is about dealing with human issues, and everybody is a person, and everybody needs that help sometimes, and that's okay. I also want to clarify and say that there's nothing wrong with being mentally ill either. I personally deal with mental illness every day, and I don't think it makes me any less of a person, and I know it doesn't make you any less of a person either. So there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness, but I know a lot of people really worry about this when they think about starting therapy. They worry that they're taking time away from the therapist that they should be spending with people with real problems, people with worse problems. And I just want to take a second and say that your problems are perfectly valid and deserving of attention from a therapist. I've had people come to me and say, I think maybe I'm kind of depressed, but I don't think I have depression, so I don't think I should go to therapy. I'm afraid it'll insult people like you, people who are really dealing with stuff. And that just breaks my heart every time people come to me with things like that, because it's happened more than once. And if that's the boat you're in, where you feel like you're depressed, but you're not sure you have depression, and you're worried about insulting people with mental illness, take it from somebody with mental illness. I want you to go to therapy. I want you to get better. I want you to feel better. I want things to improve for you, and I am in no way insulted. All right, let's move on to myth number 2, which is that therapy is too expensive. So I actually already made a whole video about 4 ways you can get affordable therapy, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, but I do want to point out that it is absolutely possible to get affordable therapy. Insurance, first of all, makes a huge difference. A lot of people in America are underinsured, which means your insurance plan kind of sucks, but insurance can still make a huge difference and take therapy from being something totally unaffordable to something you can swing maybe once a month or twice a month. Also, there are ways to get therapy outside of insurance. Insurance is not your only option, so if you're uninsured or underinsured, there are other options for you. Myth number 3, you have to talk about your parents. There's this weird stereotype in the media, especially, that when you go to therapy, you have to talk about your parents, especially your mom. For some reason, everybody thinks that therapy is all about hating on your mother, when really I think that derives from a very old Freudian foundation of therapy, where you go, you sit, you lay down on a couch, and you talk about your mother. And that's just not what modern therapy is really like at all. If you're curious what therapy is like, check out this video where I take you from start to finish through an entire therapy session and what to expect. Now, all of that being said, I will admit that most therapists are going to ask about your parents, at least on a surface level, just to get a general background for you and your life. But you don't have to talk about them if you don't want to. And also, on the flip side, you are allowed to talk about your parents. I know I resisted this for a long time because I felt like I shouldn't talk about anyone else in therapy, but the truth is, human beings interact with other human beings, and other people impact us, and it's important to talk about those relationships sometimes. So if you do want to talk about your parents, just know that it's okay, and talking about them, even venting about them a little, is not going to hurt them. Finally, myth number 4, therapy is the only way to improve your mental health. This is simply not true. Therapy is one really good option. I strongly recommend therapy. I genuinely think the world would be a better place if everyone had access to therapy. But I also understand that not everybody does, and I want you to know that there are other options. One way you can improve your mental health outside of therapy is actually medication. So personally, I take medication for my mental health. I find it to be incredibly helpful for keeping me on track and helping me be myself. A lot of times people are really worried about starting medication. I know I was worried about starting medication because I was worried it was going to turn me into somebody I wasn't. I was worried it was going to take away some aspect of my personality or numb me or deaden my emotions or something. But in reality, medication has made me more of myself. It has taken away a lot of the barriers to being myself that used to exist before I started medication. So this is not an ad for medication or anything. If you don't want to take it, that's completely fine. I totally understand. But I do want you to understand that there is no shame in taking medication for your mental health. Another great way to improve your mental health is through reading. Reading about your condition or reading about mental health in general. I highly recommend joining a book club, and that way you get to interact with other people who are also processing these things, and you get to chat about it and talk about it outside of your own head. There's a really great mental health book club called the Socially Awkward Book Club that reads books all about social anxiety, introversion, stuff like that. I will link it down in the description. I'm actually a member, so if you want to join, that would be super fun. Finally, another great option is coaching. Coaching is very different from therapy, not at all the same, but it can help improve your mental health in different ways. Therapy really takes you from not functioning to functioning, whereas coaching takes you from functioning to next level. It really helps take your mental health and give it a boost and give you direction and help you find out what you really want from life and then help you get there. If coaching sounds like the right option for you, I would love to help you out. Just check out the link in the description below to book your initial discovery call. And as always, thank you so much for watching.